to do their part to make sure you're feeling welcome and you're feeling at home. All right, they're going to treat you just like family. All right, come shop the finest loose diamonds in Denver. They have every size, shape, and price range you can imagine, and the largest selection of engagement ring settings I've ever set eyes on. And not only are they going to share the secrets of the business with you, but they're going to give you the best price in Colorado, guaranteed. So why wouldn't you want to create moments and memories for yourself and the ones you love by going to Williams Jewelers, the official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche, Denver's first family of fine jewelers, located in Cherry Creek North on 3rd Avenue and also in Inglewood at Broadway and Bellevue. And don't forget to mention my name, Philip Lindsay, when you step through one of those doors.
Jacobs Law and 303 Law 4040, the husband and wife law firm where you don't get passed around to a law clerk or some call center overseas. You always get to meet directly with me and my lovely wife, Kimberly. Go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040.
Jackson Hewitt has a great tax prep deal, $149 or less. Missing out is like ignoring the check engine light in your car. You'll regret it. Seriously, the price is only $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So don't wait. Like when you get a password expires today alert or you're shopping online and there's only one item left. It's like your taxes are in the cart. Just complete the purchase. Hurry. This deal for $149 or less is like your phone at 1%. It's about to power down. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Save $10 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Our professional parts people will even install them for free.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Bring your visions to life with smart business buying tools and technology from Amazon Business. From fast, free shipping to in-depth buying insights and automated purchase approvals, we deliver everything you need to achieve your goals. Go to AmazonBusiness.com for support.
Xfinity tech support.
I can't get Jurassic Park back online without...
But no worries. Our Wi-Fi boosted mobile keeps you connected in all kinds of places.
Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at XfinityMobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
Join Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan on March 27th at the Basketball Social House for a live broadcast from 2 to 6 p.m. with The Drive. The first-of-its-kind sports bar and basketball suites experience is calling. Eat, drink, and catch every game on massive screens and shoot some hoops.
Hi, Dan Cicchini with Dunright. Great pricing options and bank financing? You bet. Kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Done right since 1985. You have our word, we'll treat you right at Done Right. Visit drhi.com. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Terrell Davis, 2-time world champion and Pro Football Hall of Famer. There is nothing more important than your health.
Score big. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins.
Hey, it's Mike Evans. For over a decade, Bluebird Windows and Doors has been servicing the Front Range with products built to withstand Colorado's unpredictable weather. Bluebird's Sunrise Collection windows are built to last a lifetime and are backed by strong warranties. Buy one window and get one 50% off through March 31st. And mention you heard about Bluebird from me, Mike Evans. You'll save an additional 5%. Enjoy the outdoors through energy-efficient Bluebird windows. Visit gobluebirdco.com. Bluebird Windows and Doors. Make today a Bluebird day.
When water, fire, or mold turn your home upside down, don't panic.
Bring Able to the table.
Able Restoration responds fast, secures your property, and handles everything from mitigation to full rebuild. One call, one team, start to finish. They work with your insurance, communicate clearly, and treat your home like it's their own. Because when it's time to protect what matters most, don't just hire anyone.
Bring Able to the table.
Call 303-590-5600.
Who wants the lowest rate for life?
I
do. Everyone does, but it's only U.S. Mortgages. Lock in a low rate today, and if rates fall in the future, we will redo your loan and lower your rate without any lender fees, including the appraisal. There's no limit to the number of times you can do this. Always have the lowest rate for life. Get our 475 5-year fixed rate, 5.89 APR. Call 303-LOW-RATE or online at usmloan.com.
All loans subject to approval and change. See website for complete details. License number 392126.
Some people pay $100 a month for phone service. Text Now gives you 5G without the 5-figure commitment. Unlimited talk, unlimited text, unlimited freedom to switch things up. Try Text Now today.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
Back at it on a Monday. Mike Rice, Dante Gomez, Denver Sports Tonight. DG, as I ask you every Monday, how was the weekend?
It was good. Other
Okay.
than you didn't ask me about this in free talk. I don't know if maybe not that noticeable. Got a nice little gash above my eye here.
I didn't see it. What happened?
Okay, so maybe, all right. Well, that's good. Maybe it's not that noticeable. I don't know. I need to come up with a better story because the real story is super lame. I just bent over to pick something up off the ground and smacked my face into the corner of my dresser.
Yeah, you do. You need to come up with something a little more dramatic.
I need to workshop. I was supposed to do that today, actually. I was supposed to workshop a better story.
Oh,
but
man.
no, I was like bleeding. I was gushing blood. It was,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. But you're okay.
Yes. No, I'm all good.
You're not feeling lightheaded or anything like that. No concussion or anything.
Not any more than usual.
You're out of the blue tent.
Yes.
Okay. Were you in the blue tent yesterday when you did that?
A little bit, yeah. No,
Okay.
I was holding a little paper towel there for hours, put Band-Aid on it all day,
Okay.
all that. But yeah, no, feeling pretty good. Great weekend of March Madness.
Yeah.
The games were not a lot of upsets, but still really good games, and it's a great time to be. I feel like I say that every weekend, but it's a great time to be a sports fan right now.
Yeah, I mean that St. John's, Kansas finish was fun. Man, and how about the story of that point guard who not only hits the shot with his right hand, and he's a left-handed player, but the way Rick Pitino said he called his own shot in the huddle. He's like, well, I guess we're doing it. And the kid comes through. Great moments like that all the time in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's just so many stories. There's so many teams that it's hard to know the stories about all of these guys. So March Madness really gives a chance to highlight all the great stories that are out there.
Okay, so we will talk some – we're going to talk some baseball. Rockies are getting closer to starting. That'll be a little bit later. We'll talk some Avs. We'll talk some Nugs. We start with our Denver Broncos. And we start with the fact that the wide receiver position is one that is, well, shall we say, interesting, right? Marvin Mims spoke with Altitude. And I guess, Dante, I want to know from his reaction what you thought. I mean, did it mean anything? Was he trying to send a message? Because, I mean, honestly, we don't know. When a guy gives an interview, it's hard to tell exactly. But what was your take on all of that?
On Mims' comments?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear from him first? So that
I was looking for him. Wait a minute. Maybe it's on
it should
that.
be the drive
I know.
all the way to the right.
There it is. No. I got it. Okay, no, I couldn't find it. That's what happens when you're the rookie. Well, maybe not the rookie, but the guy who's not in every day. No, I do. And these, again, are courtesy of Altitude. And he was asked just his reaction on the trade for Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, for sure. I think it really surprised me, just bringing in a guy like that. But, I mean, if you look at his career ever since high school to college to now, I mean, he's just an explosive playmaker. And I think offensively, we always need more playmakers. I think it'll be a really fun to watch. So we'll just see how it all comes out this season.
Okay, and then he was asked how he might fit into the offense, Mims, that is, with Waddle in the fold.
Yeah, a little bit. It's just interesting to see how I'll fit in the offense. But at the end of the day, just for me, the past 2 years, I mean, the thing I've taken pride in is being able to play running back, be a returner, be a receiver. So any way I can affect the game, I'm happy to go out there and do it.
So on the surface, Dante, no misstep as far as what Marvin Mims said, but underneath, behind the scenes, whatever you want to call it, what do you think he and his agent are discussing? And do the Broncos, does the move for Waddle signal that one of the receivers is going to be out the door?
Yeah. Well, first I want to touch on his comments. The surprised nature that was the first thing he brings up. He's like, well, yeah, first of all, I was pretty surprised. Do you think he was actually that caught off guard? Do you think he was expecting that this offensive skill position group was going to look the exact same as it did a year ago? Because if so, I think we were watching different Broncos offenses. It felt like they needed to add to one of those rooms. So, and maybe he wasn't expecting it to be the wide receiver room necessarily, but they definitely needed to add some offensive weapons to this team. So I'm sure he maybe got caught off guard a little bit there. That's the way he made it sound, at least. And I got to assume him and his agent are having a conversation behind the scenes of what does this mean for me? What does this mean for my opportunities, for my touches? Should we ask for a trade? Should we just play it out here and hope that a team around the league could sign us to something? Are contract extensions still going on between the Broncos and Mims? I think all of those questions were probably getting asked between him and his agent. At this point, I would assume the Broncos would not extend him, at least to a larger money deal. I don't know if he's earned a big money deal anyway, but if you're moving forward with Waddle and Sutton and you have Franklin who's still younger, you have Pat Bryant who's still younger, I'm not so sure where Marvin Mims fits in the future of this Broncos offense. I think for 2026, he's a good piece to have, but I don't know if he's going to be here much longer than that.
Well, I've heard a lot about, okay, which guy is the odd man out? And I'm not sure we're at that point yet. I'm really not. And here's why. Here's what I mean. Do I think the Broncos, when they thought about acquiring a veteran, talented, bona fide receiver like Jalen Waddle, do I think they had a plan and they had a longer-term view of the room? Of course. That's what executives get paid to do, is plan out. But do they know for certain at this point they're not going to extend Mims? I don't know that. Here's what I think it does, Dante. I think it gives the Broncos an option to do whatever they want and to let teams come calling to them. Other teams know now, with Jalen Waddle in the fold, they've got maybe not a glut of receivers, but an extra receiver or two. I mean, LJH is back in the fold. We know that. And we know how much Sean Payton likes him some Lil Jordan. But look, maybe the Broncos are thinking, all right, yeah, it's probably not our plan to re-sign Mims, but he has shown himself to be productive. And if a team calls and wants to overpay for Troy Franklin, we can still then make that deal and also re-sign Marvin if that's the way we want to go. I don't know. I mean, my guess is they have a preferred route over the next year or so about what they want to do. But to say it's going to play out that way means that you know what other teams are going to come calling with, and they don't know that yet. So I think it's a great position to be in if it ends up being Mims who's the odd man out because of, I mean, as Zach and Phil pointed out, and I was thinking of it as they were talking about it earlier on the drive, Mims was a second-round draft choice. He was a higher pick than Bryant. He was a higher pick than Troy Franklin. So I think the door is wide open for the Broncos to take a deal from another team, maybe a rebuilding team that is targeting a young player who's got a little bit of experience and shown some flashes. I think Bryant has shown some flashes. I think Franklin's shown some flashes. So they might be willing to part with a draft pick or two because they're rebuilding and they're getting a guy who can fit right in that category right away.
Yeah, and you're right. It is a good position for the Broncos to be in because they have options. They can roll through the 2026 season with everybody on the roster and make sure they have extra depth, because we saw last year they needed that extra depth at certain points with Lil Jordan Humphrey taking some big snaps in playoff games, Michael Bandy taking playoff snaps as well. I'm sure they'd prefer that that's not the case. I'm sure they'd prefer that they have their starters out there and guys that they can trust, and I've been in the system for a little bit, so it's nice that they have options. I will say I would be a little surprised actually if they do roll into the season with everybody in the wide receiver room that's currently there still on the roster. It feels like there is an odd man out. I just don't know who it is yet. And Marvin Mims brought it up in that little clip we played there. He does have a lot of versatility. He's a punt returner. You can line him up in the backfield. So he's kind of carved out his own little niche role there. However, the Broncos haven't really done a good job of using him offensively. So to me, if I was the Broncos and you can get some good value for him, I would probably trade Marvin Mims at this point instead of letting him walk at the end of the year for nothing. But it just kind of depends on what they want to do. And Sean Payton's mentioned multiple times of we need to get Mims more involved on offense. And that's on him, obviously, as the play caller of the years past here. We'll see if maybe Davis Webb has a better vision for Marvin Mims and is able to get him more involved in this offense. But I still I don't trust this offensive mindset to be able to get Marvin Mims used on a down-to-down basis. It feels like he's more of a specialist at this time, and this Broncos regime prefers Troy Franklin as a wide receiver, which I'm on board for. I think Troy Franklin's still a really good wide receiver. I think there's a lot of untapped potential there still. If I was the Broncos, I would roll with Sutton, Waddle, Franklin as my starting three with Pat Bryant and Michael Bandy and Little Jordan Humphrey as my depth, but I'm interested to see how they see it.
Well, there are a couple things there, and if you want to join us on the RamosLaw.com text line, get your thoughts in 303-713-1043. Why is it always it comes down to Mims or Franklin or Mims or Bryant? Why doesn't it come down to Mims or Lil Jordan Humphrey? I can't figure that out, first off. I know Lil Jordan's a much bigger target. I know Sean Payton loves big wide receivers, but...
Well, one of them you can have on your practice squad, one of them you can't have on your practice squad.
Of course, but I don't know. I mean, if I'm right now picking the five best receivers on the Broncos, Sutton, Waddle, in no particular order, Bryant, Franklin, and Mims. Those are my five guys.
Who's playing special teams? Not punt returner special teams. Who's playing the other special teams?
I was going to say Mims. Well, you get somebody. Does it have to be a wide receiver?
Not necessarily, but usually a wide receiver will double on special teams if you are the fifth wide receiver there. I don't know. It just feels like there's too many guys that are too productive and too talented to have as a fourth and fifth wide receiver in that case, where you'd probably prefer to be a lesser known guy, Little Jordan Humphrey or Michael Bandy, who is willing to play special teams, do some of the dirty work, who is okay getting moved down to practice squad for certain weeks at a time throughout the year.
Well, I just, part of me has a problem with, we have too much talent at this position. Now, again, this is where I think the Waddle trade does help the Broncos, not only from on-field production and on-field options for Bo and a playmaker that the Broncos offense desperately needed, versus, all right, we've got this oversupply, if you will, of young, pretty talented receivers, maybe not great receivers yet, but receivers that are younger, have some experience and have shown some flash, but haven't yet established themselves as, say, a 2 or a 3. And so a team could come and overpay. I really like this on the RamosLaw.com text line from the 0384. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills about Marvin. He's the guy that came in with little prep and put up 91 yards against the Bills. Just because he was elevated to the depth chart because other two receivers couldn't play, why don't we use him more? He could be a playmaker instead of spending draft picks on another wide receiver who's basically the same. Okay, maybe not the same, but similar. At least give him a shot. It goes to your point, Dante. I mean, Sean Payton has been saying since Marvin's rookie year, we've got to get him involved. The last 2 seasons, we've got to get him involved more. And he hasn't gotten him involved more. So either Sean Payton doesn't know how to get him involved, I'm not sure I believe that, or he's just talking up a player that he really doesn't feel is worthy of getting involved more over, say, a Pat Bryant or over a Troy Franklin. And to me, it's the latter. It speaks to where Marvin sits in Sean Payton's mind on the hierarchy of the wide receivers.
Yeah, and I think Sean Payton likes his traditional receivers. I think we've seen that throughout the years of when he drafts them or who he plays. And obviously Marvin Mims getting less opportunities than Troy Franklin did in this past season. And you mentioned about, is there such a bad thing of having 5 talented wide receivers or maybe too much depth there? We just saw this a year ago when the team decided to trade Devon Vele before the season got going, because they did get a good return for him, trading him over to New Orleans there. So it definitely seems like Sean Payton doesn't want to go in with too many mouths to feed. It feels like he likes having maybe 4 established guys than one guy that can do a little bit of everything there. So that's what I'm basing my opinion on here, and that's why I think that there is an odd man out in this situation, and they're not going to just roll with those 5 plus Little Jordan Humphrey, plus Bandy plus whoever else they go out and get.
I still think that they're with the Broncos, even after the Waddle trade, having 7 draft picks. I think we could see a move or 2 or more from the Broncos on draft day. I really do. And one of them might be involving a package, say, with Marvin Mims. Again, I don't have any speculation. I mean, I'm not going to play fantasy football and say, well, what if they package Mims and these two? We don't know. But especially as the first round is unfolding and into day 2, I mean, could the Broncos trade out of round 2? Could they trade up in round 2? Could they package something with Marvin Mims? I think all of those are possibilities. And that's why the Jalen Waddle move is so fascinating to me on the level beyond just what he's going to bring to the offense. It's how is it going to impact the roster construction and the potential picks that they might be able to get back, or maybe they get a player back. And on this one, Mim on the RamosLaw.com text line from the 7724, this speaks to special teams. Mim's huge in the punt return game, flips the field and sparks the team way too often. But can they afford the luxury of basically having Marvin Mims as a punt returner with Waddle in the fold?
Yeah, no, and I think that's the $1 million question here is he going to be there mostly as a special teams punt returner, kick returner, or are they going to be able to create more of an offensive role for him? Is there going to be an opportunity to create more of an offensive role for him? So I'm curious to see where they go with that. I don't know if they necessarily need Mims's talents for this year, but it'll be interesting. And you mentioned the draft there. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't see them trading into round 1, but I could see them saying, oh, we didn't expect this guy to be there in round 2. Let's trade up into early round 2 and go get our guy. To me, that feels like the most likely situation for these guys. And then going back to the Mims and Waddle fit of it all, if you're Marvin Mims, what would you want to be? Would you want to be a Bronco in 2026, or would you rather maybe go elsewhere and see if you can have a bigger opportunity?
Well, I would want to go where I'm going to have a legitimate shot to contribute and further my career, especially as I go into a contract year. Because if he plays here and all of us, again, are watching the season unfold and we're saying Sean Payton's not you, or Davis Webb, or the combination are not using Marvin Mims nearly like they should or as much as they should, then Marvin Mims is going to feel like that's going to hurt his free agent stock. So if I'm Marvin, I'm going, I want to play. I want to get the second contract and a bigger second contract. And right now, I don't know how big it would be given what he's produced. And to that point, on this RamosLaw.com text line from the 7839, Mims has woefully underperformed as a second rounder. I'm certain they'll be moving on. But that begs the question, is he underperforming because the coaches, Sean, in the past, hasn't had confidence that he could produce, or because he just hasn't gotten the opportunities? I mean, when he did get the opportunities late in the season 2 years ago, he did produce. And when he got the opportunities late this season, he did produce. Not only producing, but Dante, in big games. Think back to the Cincinnati game in overtime when the Broncos were fighting for a playoff spot. The touchdown catch late in that game. The big play against, I think it was Buffalo, right, this year in the playoffs. I mean, those are massive plays. Those are massive contributions. So I come down somewhere in the middle, and that's why if they trade Marvin, it's like, okay, they've got other young receivers that clearly they like. But if they decide to keep him, it's like, then use the guy. Use his speed. Use him in a combination somehow with Waddle and Sutton to stretch the field even more. That kind of thing. I think they have options, whether they keep him or whether they decide to let him go or deal him, I should say, not let him go. I mean, they're not going to cut him, but they would try and trade him.
Yeah, and that's, again, why it's nice to be where the Broncos are now. If they're going all in, Super Bowl or bust this year, maybe it makes more sense to keep Mims. But if they're looking at this as a 5-year outlook, maybe it makes more sense to trade him, try to get a 4th-round draft pick for him, and a player that is going to be useful and on a cheap contract for the next 4 years. So I'm interested to see how it goes. I have a lunch bet basically with Will He thinks they're going to move on from Troy Franklin. I think they're going to move on from Marvin Mims. So we'll see how that turns out. But
wait, before the season?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was before the trade deadline.
Okay.
I believe is the conversation. And if neither gets moved, neither loses. And if they both remain the whole year, neither loses as well. So we'll see. But I just think that Marvin Mims and Jalen Waddles, their talents overlap a lot in terms of being the small speedster. And I don't necessarily know if you need both of them on the offense, at least. Again, I think Mims brings a lot. Maybe you don't need both in the wide receiver room is a better way of putting it. I think Mims is useful in terms of, and he mentioned it again in the clip, he can be a running back. You can line him up other places. He can be a punt returner, a kick returner. He just wants to get the ball in his hands and make a difference. But I just don't know if you need him and Waddle.
If you were the Broncos and you decided to shop Mims actively or take calls, which obviously you can't control whether or not a team calls, what would be your asking price for Marvin Mims? As far as, let's just stick to draft picks because we don't know. It might be a player. Maybe it's a depth inside linebacker or something like that might fill, or a depth tight end that might be able to help the room there. But when it comes to draft picks, would a third rounder be too rich for teams?
I think a third rounder is what I would ask for, but I would take a fourth rounder.
Would you?
If that makes sense. So I'm asking for the third, and if they counter with a fourth, I think we can make that happen. I don't know. Is that giving up for nothing in your opinion?
I don't. I'm genuinely asking, and I'm thinking it through while I'm asking you. Because whatever you ask for, teams are going to try and negotiate down. Okay, so he was a second round pick. What was it? 62nd, 63rd, something, whatever, right in the low to mid 60s. So I don't know realistically that you're going to get a second round pick, but if the other team is motivated enough and you throw out the price tag of a second round pick, you know, if the other GM really wants that player, then he's going to try and drive the price down. And the question is, what's the floor for Payton and Payton? What are they willing to settle for or take if you want to trade Marvin Mims to create a little bit of flexibility or to create a little room in the room, much like they did with Vele? And they ended up getting good value for Vele.
Yeah, they got great value for Vele. They got a great season out of him and then flipped him for a better draft pick than what they got drafted him for. And he was on a cheap contract all the time he was here too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar to that situation this offseason. And maybe they're not actively shopping him. Kind of how, like, we didn't really know Devon Vele was going to get moved. And I actually remember we were doing live radio during it, and Zach is saying there's no way they trade Devon Vele. And about 5 minutes later, Devon Vele, the little update came up. Devon Vele traded to New Orleans. So I think it's hard to know what the Broncos organization is thinking. Clearly, because free agency went a different way than most people thought. This trade for Waddle wasn't exactly. It was on people's radar, but it kind of gone to the back of a lot of people's mind at this point. So it feels like they have their own plan for what they want to do, and they're not necessarily going to lean into the group think of, oh, just because the experts at ESPN think we should do this, or the guys talking on 104.3 The Fan think we should do this. They don't really seem to care a lot about what other people think.
And they shouldn't, because they're the ones pulling the trigger. They're the ones with all the information. Just to transition in our last couple of minutes of this segment to the Waddle trade and Albert Breer's piece in Sports Illustrated, or for Sports Illustrated, about all of the calls. What was it, 15 calls that went back and forth. What struck me when I saw that was a lot of times these deals take time. They don't come together right away. And I was thinking about my own frustration when free agency opened and the Broncos did nothing. And tick, 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 and the clock is rolling and the Broncos aren't doing anything. And are they ever going to do anything? And lo and behold, they had not only been doing research on Waddle with their own players, with Nick Saban and some of his guys down in Bama, going back to Waddle's college days, but also with the Miami GM. These things take time when you're trying to do your due diligence. And it's what we've always said, Dante, just because nothing's happened doesn't mean nothing is going on. And I refuse to believe that the Broncos are just like, okay, yeah, we'll just kind of put it in cruise control until the draft. They are poring over the roster, poring over scenarios, making calls, what might happen. I mean, this is my belief. I don't actually know if they're making calls, but I think I think good personnel groups do that. They say, okay, what if we wanted to trade Mims? What could we potentially get? Our team's calling us. I think that's part of the whole equation going on.
Well, I don't know how much they're doing that because Sean Payton was pretty busy last weekend.
Well, yeah. Flag football, baby.
Yeah.
It's the new rage.
Apparently.
Maybe not for
Did
Sean,
you watch
though.
it all? Or
no, I didn't.
I didn't either. To me, it was like, hey, we have the Nuggets are playing, the Avs are playing, March Madness is on all day. I didn't have time to go watch meaningless flag football.
It's really interesting on the RamosLaw.com text line, the variety of opinions about Mims. From this, again, the 7839, Bryant is the number 3 receiver. He'll benefit the most because he's a great route runner. Mims is not. He's just pure speed. From the 5882, Mims for a third, no less. We need a third. From the 4862, how is Mims valued less than Franklin? Has looked superior in most ways to me. People have a wide variety of opinions on Mims.
And I think that's part of why this is such a interesting topic, and it's hard to predict what the Broncos are going to do because you can look at Marvin Mims and say, oh, he has to be a key part of the offense. Or you can look at him and say, hey, he wasn't really a key part of the offense last year, and this team went 14-3. So I think there's a lot of ways you can look at it, and there's not necessarily one right answer to this Marvin Mims, not just him specifically, but the Broncos wide receiver room as a whole.
I think there are more moves to come. I think it's going to be a fun draft for the Broncos because they have a lot of picks, and I'm not sure they're done wanting to acquire. And we're gonna, or maybe they will be sellers in some respects of some picks to try and move up, move around, that kind of thing. Going to be fun over the next month plus, as we're about a month away from the draft. We're going to shift it to the Nuggets. I'm looking for something in particular from the Nuggets, and even with P. Watt back, I'm still not sure I see it. That's next.
Stream Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Dover and Cecil, The Drive, and all your favorite shows on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan app. Powered by Advanced Tax Solutions. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Sex, intimacy, love. These three things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we're ED experts with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
For many of us, it's happened before. Your hair is thinning, crowns disappearing. Maybe the hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. The solution that worked for me, it's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. And it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what if you want your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Paul's, it's not maybe your hair will regrow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
I'm Rob Wilhite. A car accident can change everything in a moment. For almost 50 years, my firm has gone up against insurers and won over $1 billion for our clients. If you were hit, don't wait. Evidence fades, witnesses disappear, and the insurance companies know that. We move fast, you should too. Call 303-GOOD-LAW or go to willheitwins.com. That's 303-GOOD-LAW or willheitwins.com. We're here for Coloradans when it matters most. The Wilhite Law Firm, Colorado Strong. willheitwins.com.
It's the College Hoops Showdown, wall-to-wall basketball, and zero time to mess with your lawn. At Waterloo Turf, they help Denver homeowners trade yard work for game time. No mowing, no watering, no mud on game day. Just a green championship-level lawn all season long. Perfect for watch parties, pets, and backyard hoops. From backyards to putting greens, Waterloo Turf installs premium artificial turf built for Colorado. Visit WaterlooTurf.com/Denver and book your free consultation. Waterloo Turf, get your Saturdays back, and don't miss the buzzer.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on
Portland Trailblazers at Ball Arena yesterday as the Nuggets get to 44-28, getting a little more respectable at home for a team that aspires to win a title, 21-13, but still not where they want to be. We'll see how it unfolds. Payton Watson back in the lineup for the the Nuggets yesterday, and after about 6 weeks off because of the hammy, played 20 minutes, 14 points on 6 of 13, 1 of 5 from downtown, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. I think it's great to have P-Watt back, and it really makes the Nuggets whole, and they still have a handful of games that they can figure some things out and hopefully make a run. I don't know if they're going to catch the Lakers. They're 2.5 back of the Lakers right now, and time is ticking in terms of the games left on the schedule. But Dante, I'm looking for one thing in particular as I think about the Nuggets being a team that can realistically make a run, not just to the finals, but win another NBA title. And I am looking for grit. I am looking for toughness. And even with Payton Watson back, and I do think he will help in both of those categories, I don't know if I see enough. I really don't know if I see enough, especially on the defensive end, and this goes back to our conversation on this show on Friday night.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were going to say grit there, but when you started that sentence, I was thinking the same thing. That toughness, that grit, that mental fortitude of, hey, we're going to go out there and win this game no matter what. We're going to go out there and make this really difficult for the opposing team to score on us. And I just don't see enough of it. I do see it from time to time, but it's definitely not on a consistent basis. And I think you're right. Payton Watson helps with that. And I'm happy they won the last 2 games. Yes, that's better than losing the last 2 games. But I need to see it against some better competition. So to me, we're not really going to know who this Nuggets team is until the playoffs get going. I don't think there's any regular season matchups enough where there's going to be enough on the line for both teams playing for me to really get a good idea of what this Nuggets team can do against the best of the best. And that's what I want to see it again. Toronto's going to be a playoff team. Great. You can go out and beat them. The Blazers are going to be a play-in team. Great. You can go out and beat them. This isn't about winning the first round. This is about going out and winning a NBA title. And to do that, you're going to have to beat the best of the best. And I'm still not sure that the Nuggets have that level of basketball in them.
I mean, they've got Portland again in the final stretch here of 10 games. They've got Portland once, Utah twice, Dallas once, Memphis once. They've also got Phoenix. They've got Oklahoma City, and then at San Antonio. In fact, the Spurs twice here in the final 5 games of the year. The regular season finale is down in Texas. It's one thing to not be the best defensive player. Okay, Joker brings so much to the floor. To say he's not a dominating defensive presence, I think any of us can live with that. Even Jamal, as much as he brings, he's not a lockdown defender or anything close. Okay, I can live with that. And I'm not singling these guys out in the comment I'm about to make. I'm saying as a group, aside from, say, a Bruce Brown, maybe a Christian Brown in years past, haven't seen it as much this year, where's the tenacity, that grit we were talking about, that I am just going to grit my teeth and will myself to get a stop or will myself to be a better defender? And if they turn that on in the playoffs, I will sit here and say, hey, I'm super glad they did. I would have loved to have seen it during the regular season more, but I don't know that that's going to be possible, Dante, and that concerns me when it comes to the postseason. Not so much can they win one series, but as you put it, can they play that way? Because if you're going to win an NBA title, you're going to have to play that way at least a good portion of the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that you mentioned it. Why didn't we see it throughout the whole regular season? This team is not good enough to just roll into the playoffs and say, oh, no, when we play our best, we're going to go out and win an NBA title. You're really putting yourself behind the 8 ball by, if you do have a matchup with the Spurs, you're going to have to start that on the road. If you do have a matchup with the Thunder, you're going to have to start that series on the road. So I just think that they're putting themselves in a bad situation to try to go out and win a title. And we saw the last title they went out and won. They didn't beat a single team that had 50 wins. And I get that you can do that and get lucky. Not lucky. If they weren't the 1 seed, that's just not the case. It would have been. But they were the 1 seed, and they were able to cruise to a title that year. They're obviously not going to be the 1 seed. They're probably not going to be a top 3 seed this year. I think best case scenario at this point is that 4 seed. So are they going to be able to overcome the obstacles and do it? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that I trust David Adelman to be able to overcome these obstacles either, because I think he's had some questionable decisions from time to time in the last month or so during some of these clutch time games too. So I just don't think they're good enough to overcome the obstacles, and they're not setting themselves up for success. And when you're a veteran team that's won a couple rings, yeah, you can do that. But I just think this team doesn't have the cachet or the head and shoulders above the rest of the league that we saw maybe when LeBron was in Cleveland or Miami, or when those Warriors teams are going out and winning all those games. I just wouldn't put this Nuggets group in the same category as those guys, and that's why I don't think they're a flip the switch kind of team.
I know that Michael Malone's voice probably wore thin. Some of his comments probably wore thin. Certainly the friction with he and between him and Calvin Booth wore thin, not only to the players, but to the entire organization. But I do wonder this. We know that David Adelman does not publicly challenge the guys like Malone did, for better or worse. I think it's actually for the worse, but that's just not the path he's taken. And after, Malone and his style that way maybe wore thin, I can understand why the Nuggets went in a different direction from a style or personality standpoint. But I wonder if, because the Nuggets haven't been a great defensive team, they haven't been loaded with I think Oklahoma City has just a bigger and better and more talented commitment to defense than the Nuggets have. But could it be that maybe I feel like I saw more effort defensively on balance, not all the time, but on balance under Malone than I have under Adelman. And I wonder, is the style of a coach that's willing to kind of publicly call out his players, I don't know. I wonder if that plays into it at all.
No, I think so. And just Michael Malone's intensity, I think, translated to this team for a very long time. And David Adelman doesn't have that intensity to him. I mean, you see him on the sidelines, and he sometimes will get after it with the refs and whatnot, but there's not the same ferocity that Michael Malone had in that New York background where you were a little scared to play under him if you were a player. I don't think David Adelman strikes that same kind of fear. And I get these guys are professional athletes. They shouldn't have to have fear from their head coach to go out and perform their best. But sometimes that's just the reality of sports, is that these guys need a galvanizing force as a head coach, and a head coach that's going to hold these guys accountable. And we'll see what happens in the playoffs, but I'm not so sure that's David Adelman. I'm just not.
So I love having P-Watt back. I love having the Nuggets with their entire group back, and it's been months. But where's that grit going to come from? We talk about and toss around the saying of flipping the switch when the playoffs roll around. Is there a switch to flip when it comes to grit and toughness and intensity on defense? I hope there is. And I'm not saying they're not capable. I am saying I haven't seen it on any kind of regular basis throughout the course of the season, whether they've been playing well and off to the historic start as they were earlier in the season. And it's really difficult to make that kind of comment when they're off to the best start in franchise history. And yet at the same time, just looking back, Dante, they were playing well, but they weren't a lockdown defensive team. So where's that going to come from? Why should I believe? And I'm genuinely asking you guys, why should I believe? I want to believe that they'll find a gear, but do they even have a gear on that end of the floor? I think that's a fair question.
No, I think that is a fair question. I think some of the individuals do, but I haven't seen it as a team by any means. And obviously Aaron Gordon helps with that situation of lack of grit. Same with Peyton Watson. Bruce Brown helps in that case. Christian Brown from time to time can help in that case too, but I just haven't seen enough of it consistently throughout the year. And typically when we do talk about flipping the switch and adding that grit, Aaron Gordon's body hasn't been able to keep up with the grit that he provides. So, and that's no fault of Aaron Gordon himself. I love the way he plays basketball. I think it's the best brand of basketball in the NBA, especially in the modern NBA, where he's selfless. He does a little bit of everything. He plays hard on a night-to-night basis, but his body hasn't been able to keep up with that the last couple years in the playoffs. So we'll see, and I hope it doesn't turn out that way, but I still have my doubts.
If the playoffs were to start tonight, the Nuggets would be the 5 seed and play, well, they're tied with Minnesota, so let's just say they're the 5 seed, and they would play a series against the Rockets. I would like that matchup. I don't think it would be as advantageous, but I wouldn't mind a matchup with the Lakers. I don't think it would be easy, but I think that's absolutely a winnable series. And then they would, at least by seeding, get either the Thunder, if they're the 4 or the 5, or the Spurs. Again, I think that they could beat the Spurs in a series. I'm not ready to crown the Spurs anything, but the Thunder, man, that's a different group. That's a different group. Possible for the Nuggets to oust the Thunder? Yes, possible. Man, they're getting healthy too. And that's a little bit scary for the rest of the league because that's a complete basketball team when they're rolling.
Yeah. And I would like the Nuggets' chances against a team like the Rockets. I think LA would be an interesting series, but we're talking about these first-round matchups, and it's not about winning the first round. Like I said earlier, it's about winning the second, the third, the championship in the NBA Finals in the fourth round there. So anything after the first round, I don't know how confident I am in this team.
Let me just say this for those who like to say, well, the Spurs don't have any scars. We were saying that about the Thunder last year at this time. Yeah, they're good, but – and look at what they did. And again, it took them 7 games to beat the Nuggets, but they still beat the Nuggets, and they still won the title, and they're playing better this year, in my opinion. They're the team to beat, and it's not even close when it comes to the NBA title. When it comes to this time of year, it comes to baseball. The Rockies kind of getting their roster squared away. We'll look at that next.
Your bracket's busted, destroyed. It's embarrassing. But hey, we've all been there. The good news? Denver Sports is throwing you a lifeline. It's the Second Chance Bracket presented by Waterloo Turf and Xfinity. Your shot at redemption and $1,000. Dust yourself off. Head to DenverSports.com/bracket and prove your first bracket was just a warm-up. Entries close before tip-off Thursday, March 26th. That's DenverSports.com/bracket. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Jackson Hewitt will do your taxes for $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So if you're a delivery driver, /handyman, /wedding DJ, you pay only $149 or less. We're talking to you, waitress.
Check, please.
/pet sitter, /influencer. Just $149 or less. Want your refund to work as hard as you? Hurry. Don't wait. File with Jackson Hewitt today. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Every business starts with an idea. With smart business buying from Amazon Business, get everything you need to grow in one familiar place. From office supplies to IT essentials and maintenance tools. Ready to bring your visions to life? Learn how at AmazonBusiness.com.
Hey guys, boy Stink here today about my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if he can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house all cash and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. You want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 720-204-8100. That's 720-204-8100.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors.
Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike and Dante, last few minutes wrapping it up. Major League season actually begins on Wednesday. Yankees and the Giants. Rockies will open it up a little bit later in the week as they start on the road against Miami and then head up to Toronto. Been a bit of a change in the starting staff, Dante, to begin the year. Freeland, Lorenzen, Quintana, Sugano, and Ryan Feltner as the number 5 starter. Our guy Thomas Harding with Rockies.com puts it this way. Feltner earned the 5th spot by pitching well when ahead in the count, but he has to do that more consistently to hold the job. Yeah, that's kind of what we've seen from Ryan Feltner. I've never been a huge fan of Feltner. I get it. 5th starter, and they're putting Chase Dollander in the bullpen to start the year, which is a little bit curious to me, but okay, I'll roll with it. I'll see how things start. I told you the other day, and I think you're of the same mind, that I'm willing to give them a chance. Not only the guys on the field as we get towards the start of the season, but Paul DePodesta, Josh Burns in the front office, and kind of take the temperature of how they start and where they start, not just in terms of wins and losses. And I know it's all about the dubs and the L's, but just in how they approach things. Do they look like a bona fide major league team? And while it's some news, because, I think they see Dollander as a front-of-the-rotation guy sooner than later, but right now he's going to start in the bullpen. Does that surprise you?
It surprised me a little bit just because it felt like there was moments last year where you saw, oh, this guy was worthy of being that first-round draft pick. This guy can be a maybe number 1 or 2, more likely a 2 maybe, going forward on a good rotation here. And it feels like maybe you're stunting a little bit of that growth, but I like the move overall. I think by the end of the year, he'll end up being one of the 5 starters on this team, and I think this will only make him hungrier. I think this will only make him want it more, and we saw Paul DePodesta in one of the MLB Network interviews mention that he wants to add competition to this team, and I think this is a way of doing that, of saying, hey, Dollander, we like what you're doing and we like the potential there, but you have to go out and earn your spot in this rotation. You're not just going to be given a role, and you're not just going to be getting a start every 6th day, whatever it may be. So I like it for the long term of the Rockies' outlook here, but it was definitely a little surprising. It felt like in this day and age of sports, you kind of cater to the first-round draft pick a little bit, and for them to go against that grain, I think it's a smart move.
It also tells me that Dollander didn't truly earn a spot in the rotation at this point, because I don't think if you're in the position of the Rockies that you just bench a hot young prospect or a prospect that you think is going to contribute in a major way sooner than later just because you're trying to make a statement. I mean, you're trying to get better, as you're trying to take steps in the positive direction, as many as you can, as fast as you can. So to me, Dollander, I'm not a huge Feltner guy. I want to see Dollander in there. I do agree with you. I think sooner than later he will be in the rotation. But he's got to go pitch well.
Exactly. And where are you at in terms of Dollander being in the bullpen versus being in the minor leagues as a starter, do you think he gets better development being with the big league team and big league coaches, or would he have gotten better opportunities, I guess, and better coaching going the other route?
When you're pitching, when you're playing half your games at Coors Field with a guy like that, put him at the big league level. Let him learn up here. Now, if he can't handle it and he needs a stint down at AAA, yeah, you do that. But to me, there's no need to start him there when you've already started the clock on his service time to begin with.
Yeah.
They did that last
year.
year.
I'm with you on that. I completely agree. I think this is the way to do it. Have him be around the big league club, big league coaching staff, and if he earns it, he'll find himself in that rotation.
Always fun, Dante. Thank you.
Absolutely.
He's Dante Gomez. Mike Rice, thanks for joining us. Have a great week. It's Denver Sports Tonight.
You'll never find
Names that rhyme, takes that hit different. Shapiro and Piro is happy hour sports talk built for the modern fan. Local stories, hidden gems, and the mustache monologues you never knew you needed. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Subscribe now at Denver Sports 104.3 and get in on the action. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
So, you're ready to propose, huh?
Yeah, man. She's definitely the one.
What are we thinking about the ring? I got my wife's at Hellsberg. I couldn't recommend a better jeweler.
I could use some help with that.
Man, go to Hellsberg. I had no idea how many details you need to consider. Did you know you can get a natural or lab-grown diamond? I didn't. Figure out what she wants. Trust me, they'll make it happen.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Jacobs Law and 303 Law 4040, the husband and wife law firm where you don't get passed around to a law clerk or some call center overseas. You always get to meet directly with me and my lovely wife, Kimberly. Go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040.
All C's Collectors Showcase, 3-day event with free admission, presented by Aurora Rise. Live auction by former football player Nate Jackson. Silent charity auction, Cecil Lammy, comics, sports cards, Pokemon, and more at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds, April 3rd through the 5th.
When disaster hits your home, it's game time. Water in the basement, fire damage, mold creeping in. Don't sit on the sidelines.
Bring Able to the table.
Able Restoration is your first round draft pick for emergency response, mitigation, and full rebuild. They move fast, protect your property, and fight for you with insurance. This isn't practice. This is your home. So when it's time to step up and protect what matters most,
bring Able to the table.
Call